On October 24, 2025, the city of Belgorod, Russia, awoke to a scene of utter chaos and confusion. What began as an ordinary morning would soon become a day that the world would not forget. Before the sun had even risen, a series of massive, earth-shaking explosions tore through the darkness, transforming the sky into a blazing inferno that could be seen for miles around. Residents across the city were jolted awake by a thunderous roar, their windows rattling as a logistics hub just outside Belgorod erupted in a violent blast. The shockwaves rippled through neighborhoods, leaving people in disbelief. What was once a quiet cluster of warehouses on the city's outskirts was now a raging firestorm, with flames leaping high into the pre-dawn sky and emergency crews scrambling to respond. These explosions were no accident. They were precise, devastating, and unmistakably targeted. The attack was calculated to inflict maximum damage. Eyewitnesses described scenes of chaos and panic as secondary blasts sent debris and shrapnel flying for hours. The relentless detonations forced families to shelter in place, fearing what might come next. The sheer intensity and unusual colors of the fireballs, deep reds, searing oranges, and flashes of green, hinted at something far more volatile than ordinary ammunition. It was clear that highly sensitive munitions were involved. This was the spectacular and catastrophic end of a secret billion-dollar arms deal between Russia and North Korea. The covert shipment, meant to bolster Russia's war effort, was now burning for all the world to see. Instead of strengthening Russia's position in Ukraine, the destroyed shipment became a global symbol of vulnerability, its fiery demise broadcast on news channels and social media worldwide. The strike was not a random act, it was the result of weeks of meticulous planning, surveillance, and intelligence gathering by a coalition of experts. Ukrainian forces, working closely with Western intelligence agencies, knew exactly what to target, where to strike, and when to launch the attack for maximum impact. The attack sent a clear and unmistakable message. The secret dealings between Moscow and Pyongyang were no longer hidden. Their plans had been exposed to the world. In the age of satellites, drones, and digital espionage, there are few places left to hide. Every move is watched, every secret vulnerable to exposure. The Belgorod fireball was more than just a military victory. It was a geopolitical earthquake that sent shockwaves through capitals around the globe. It exposed the Kremlin's growing desperation and highlighted Ukraine's rapidly advancing technological edge, shifting perceptions of the conflict. As the smoke cleared and daylight revealed the devastation, the world saw a dramatic shift in the balance of power, one that would have lasting consequences. What was meant to be a billion-dollar arsenal had instead become a billion-dollar bonfire. It remains a stark warning to those who would try to hide their ambitions. The event marked a turning point, not just for the battlefield, but for global perceptions of the war, and for the strategies of nations watching closely. The world had just witnessed the dawn of a new era in warfare, one where intelligence, precision, and technology can change the course of history in a single night. The North Korean weapons began their journey under a veil of secrecy. Cargo ships left Rason, North Korea, going dark to avoid detection, but that only drew more attention. Western satellites using synthetic aperture radar tracked the ships day and night as they moved toward Vladivostok. Every stop and course change was logged, creating a digital trail. Once in Russia, the cargo was loaded onto guarded freight trains. Human intelligence from inside Russia, combined with satellite imagery, confirmed the train's composition and route. Signals intelligence intercepted communications, providing real-time updates. Ukraine and its partners tracked the convoy's speed, stops, and final destination. The billion-dollar target was moving slowly across a 1,000-mile firing range. The trap was set. The Russians never saw it coming. The Belgorod strike showcased unprecedented intelligence sharing. The US, UK, and NATO partners provided Ukraine with access to advanced surveillance assets. American spy satellites and analysts delivered precise, actionable intelligence. British agencies contributed critical human and signals intelligence from inside Russia. This fusion of technical and human sources gave Ukraine a decisive edge. The operation sent a message to Moscow. Every move is being watched and analyzed. The information battlefield is now as crucial as the physical one. Ukraine's alliance with Western intelligence is a strategic asset. The Belgorod strike proved that knowledge is power. In this war, information superiority can be the difference between victory and defeat. The destroyed shipment, worth $1.1 billion, was no ordinary delivery. It included hundreds of thousands of 152mm artillery shells, vital for Russia's war effort. More alarming were dozens of North Korean short-range ballistic missiles, analogues of the Iskander and ATACMS. These weapons would have intensified Russia's attacks on Ukrainian cities, overwhelming air defenses. For North Korea, the deal was a financial lifeline. For Russia, a sign of desperation. The destruction denied both regimes a critical victory. Militarily, it crippled Russia's resupply. Economically, it cut off a major cash flow to Pyongyang. Strategically, it exposed the hollowness of Russia's self-sufficiency. After the explosions, the Kremlin's response was silence. State media offered only vague reports, no mention of Ukraine, North Korea, or the true scale of the loss. This silence spoke volumes, a humiliation too great to spin. Putin's image of an unassailable Russia was shattered. The strike brought the war home, exposing Russia's vulnerability. For the military, it was a disaster. Air defense and intelligence had failed. The blame game began, deepening internal divisions. The incident eroded Putin's promise of stability and security. Quiet dissent grew among the public and elite. The image of a strong leader was replaced by one whose gambles were literally going up in smoke. The silence from Moscow was the sound of a regime in crisis. For Kim Jong-un, the arms deal was a high-stakes gamble that failed spectacularly. He had hoped this secretive transaction would secure his regime's future and cement his image as a powerful global player. Instead, it became a public disaster. The destruction of the shipment meant the loss of $1 billion lifeline for his regime. This was not just a financial blow, but a devastating hit to North Korea's already fragile economy, which relies heavily on such covert deals to survive. The deal's failure exposed North Korea's weapons and logistics to the world. Intelligence agencies everywhere are now scrutinizing Pyongyang's operations more closely, making future deals even riskier and more difficult to pull off. Other potential buyers, like Iran, now see North Korean arms as vulnerable and risky. The reputation for secrecy and reliability that once attracted clients has been shattered, making future partnerships uncertain. Kim's reputation as a reliable arms dealer is in tatters. His inner circle is reportedly shaken, and trust within his military ranks is eroding as doubts about his leadership grow. Geopolitically, the alliance with Russia now looks more like a liability than an asset. Moscow, once seen as a powerful backer, is now hesitant to be associated with such high-profile failures. China, North Korea's main ally, is likely displeased by the instability this failure brings. Beijing values stability above all, and Pyongyang's missteps threaten to complicate regional dynamics and diplomatic relations. Kim faces a dilemma: try again and risk another disaster, or retreat and accept a major setback. Either choice could weaken his grip on power and further isolate his regime from the world. The Belgorod fireball put Pyongyang on notice. Old tricks no longer work in an age of total surveillance. Every move is watched, every secret harder to keep, and every failure more costly than ever before. The gamble failed, leaving North Korea with nothing but ashes and $1 billion hole. The regime is left scrambling to recover, but the damage, both material and reputational, may be impossible to repair. The world saw the limits of Pyongyang's reach and Russia's protection. North Korea's ambitions have been checked, and its vulnerabilities laid bare for all to see. The Belgorod strike sent shockwaves through global capitals. At the UN, the US presented satellite evidence of the North Korean arms transfer, putting Russia and China on the defensive. NATO allies condemned the deal and praised Ukraine's self-defense. European leaders cited the event as proof that sanctions were working. The Global South reacted with concern, complicating their diplomatic balancing acts. For many, the strike stripped away Russian propaganda, revealing the war's desperate reality. China's muted response signaled its discomfort with the reckless actions of its partners. The exposure of the arms deal created diplomatic headaches for Beijing. The Belgorod fireball strained the Moscow-Beijing partnership more than any outside pressure could. The world saw the risks of rogue alliances laid bare. The Belgorod strike marks a turning point for military logistics. The age of moving massive shipments in secrecy is over. Modern battlefields are transparent. Commercial satellites and intelligence networks mean nothing moves undetected. Future logistics will rely on speed, deception, and dispersion. Many small shipments, not one big target. Technology will drive this shift: autonomous drones, encrypted communications, and cyber warfare. Armies must blind enemy sensors and protect their own supply lines. Centralized depots are now too vulnerable. Agile, decentralized supply chains are the future. The ability to sustain forces in a contested, transparent environment will define military power. The lesson is clear. Without secure logistics, even the best armies cannot win. Belgorod proved that supply lines are now as critical as the front lines. Adapt or risk destruction. The destruction of the North Korean arms shipment will echo for years, sending shockwaves through military and political circles worldwide. This single event has become a symbol of shifting power dynamics, and its consequences will be felt far beyond the battlefield. It redefined military power. Information superiority now trumps sheer numbers. In today's conflicts, those who control intelligence and data have the upper hand, often outmaneuvering larger, more traditional forces. Ukraine's innovative use of intelligence and technology humbled a larger adversary, proving that agility and adaptation can overcome brute strength. The failure of the Russia-North Korea alliance exposed the fragility of autocratic partnerships, revealing how quickly such alliances can unravel under pressure and adversity. The event will accelerate the global race for advanced surveillance and precision weapons, as nations scramble to modernize their arsenals and avoid being left behind in this new era of warfare. The sensor-to-shooter loop, detect, process, strike, will be the new measure of military effectiveness, demanding seamless coordination and rapid decision-making at every level. The technological arms race will separate the haves from the have-nots, creating a widening gap between those with access to cutting-edge tools and those left relying on outdated equipment. The fireballs over Belgorod showed that courage, ingenuity, and strong alliances can overcome brute force, inspiring others to rethink what is possible in modern conflict. This was more than the loss of weapons. It was a declaration that intelligence, conviction, and unity can change history, setting a new precedent for future generations. The smoke has cleared, but the message remains: war is evolving, and those who adapt will shape the future. The world is watching and learning as every nation takes note of these lessons and prepares for the challenges ahead.